Oh, Aaron was just fun. Aaron was, he was always a joker. He knew how to push my buttons. The phone would ring off the hook and it was always for Aaron. I couldn't wait to get him to get home from school, get home from college. Always enjoyed his company.
He had a lot of friends. He had pretty broad-based interest. He liked science, he liked technology, and he always had a good sense of humor.
You know, they were very close as kids. Of course, when they were little, most boys do fight. They fought a lot. But as they got older, they found that they had a lot more in common, and it was us versus them, pretty much.
We, Carol and I, always brought the boys into our activities. We had done a lot of things, and even when they were little kids, we'd take them up in the mountains and take them rock climbing.
As they got into college, they had the same friends. They did the same things together. Enjoyed a lot of the same music, but still, you'd hear the door slam down the hall. Somebody's in somebody's room, shouldn't be. So, you know, boys are boys.
It's still very difficult to speak, and after all these years about it. It was at a prime time of our family. The boys, Richard was graduating from Gustavus, Aaron was looking at graduating, going to graduate school. They were at home for Thanksgiving, and everything was falling into place. Richard was going to be married in the spring.
I was feeling like I had done a pretty good job raising those boys. And Thanksgiving Day, we had a really nice dinner with Richard and his fiancée, and my mother was there, and we were talking about all the great things we had done that year. Aaron had climbed Granite Peak, and Richard had graduated, and talking about, oh, let's all go out to Mount Hood next summer. Everybody, guys can climb, Jen and I can shop, and thinking about all the things we had looking forward to. Next thing I know, there's a knock on the door, and it was 1:15 in the morning. I looked at the clock, and I was the one that answered the door. And there were 3 county officers at the door and a chaplain, and they told us that both of our boys had been in an accident at the bottom of the hill here, less than a mile.
We had lost Richard, and Aaron had been helicoptered into regions, and that we should go with him right away, because we weren't sure how it was going to play out, and he was really hurt. And, it was just awful. That's just about all you can say. And it's the worst nightmare.
It was just, it was like somebody else's life. It wasn't mine. It is not the way it's supposed to be. And all I could think of was why both at the same time.
You see this, you see your child, and you know that's they're doing everything they can do. So we were just kind of hanging on a knife's edge there for the first couple weeks. And then we had to deal with the funeral of our other son.
My first thought for weeks was, well, when Aaron gets better, my worst fear was what's going to happen when Aaron wakes up and he finds out what's happened, what he's lost.
This level of brain injury is fairly rare, and the options for the people that have this level of brain injury are relatively few.
They categorize brain injuries as either mild, moderate, or severe, and Aaron's injury was severe.
I kind of went through this learning process with Carol and Tom, figuring out how all this worked. Before this, I didn't realize there were people out there that were in this kind of situation, and it has been very eye-opening seeing how few resources there really are.
It was 6 weeks before we saw his eyes open. Every now and then he would squeeze my hand or open his eyes. We'd look for these miracles to happen, and it just got to be longer and longer, and it just wasn't happening. They told us that the brain injury was so severe that they doubted that he would ever come out of it again.
Now, thank God, we have the ability to keep people alive. We also have the ability to keep people alive in situations where they wouldn't have survived, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And as a result, the number of people in the minimally conscious state is growing.
And after a couple of months at Bethesda, they said, we can't keep him here much longer. He's healthy. He doesn't need this kind of care. And I said, now what?
So the choice was probably nursing home or take him home and care for him within their home, and probably almost nothing in between.
Yeah, families want more for their loved one. They don't want just to be taken care of. They want them to be able to utilize as much services and resources that are out there. I just think the institutions and group homes don't have the resources, maybe the knowledge or the education to provide for these people.
The part that falls short is the interactive part, the experiential part. Carol and I had kind of a kernel of a thought. What is next is the question we posed ourselves.
Tom and I said we should build a group home.
The Granite House is something new and innovative. It's a care facility that is tailored to that small number of people who are in the minimally conscious state, but it's a home environment. And as far as I know, it's the first one of its kind.
Our mission is to provide support and hope to individuals and families who are living with severe and permanent brain injury.
We want to advocate for them. We want to make them aware to the public that they're here and they matter.
We'll be planting lilacs and lily of the valley and bringing them in for the kids to smell, and we'll be baking cookies and all those things that make a home a home.
To be able to have an environment, to have family support with others that know about brain trauma. I think that will be a key part of what they're trying to accomplish here.
Their story is very compelling, and they're just an amazing couple and family, and people caring for one another is what it's about.
They can't go out and take care of themselves. They aren't in these situations because of their own personal choices. Their families aren't in these situations because of their personal choices.
I think that if anybody could walk into a long-term care facility and see a young man at the age of 22 who has no other place to go, I think that they would be inspired to help us out.